I would say it's very clear that what happened on October 7th was a terror attack. It was targeting civilians in the most heinous way possible. But I would also say, in the context of actual fighting, I think it's okay to call Hamas fighters. If they're involved in fighting, we can call them fighters or militia. But if they're involved in terrorism, they're terrorists. So I wouldn't use the word militant at all. But I actually wouldn't get too hung up on just this one word. I'm more concerned with the double standards, with the obsession in covering Israel to the detriment of every other conflict in the world. People often point out to say Ukraine, but actually there are dozens of conflicts going on in the world. There are dozens of border disputes. There are hundreds or thousands of human rights issues and infringements all over the world. We know that civilians also died, for example, in Yemen, when American British warplanes targeted the Houthis, but no one is jumping up and down and shouting genocide or that America and Britain are deliberately trying to kill civilians, because America and Britain are not deliberately trying to kill civilians, and nor is Israel. And of course, when it comes to, rights for people in the Arab world or Muslims, as has been pointed out, there are horrendous human rights occurrences. For example, China is carrying out a real form of genocidal policy on the Uyghur Muslims who are Chinese citizens. In Burma, Buddhist Burma is carrying out ethnic cleansing and massacres of the Rohingya Muslims, about 1 million of them. In Sudan, which is the world's worst war, much worse than Gaza in terms of both deaths and in terms of displaced people or ethnic cleansing, we have a kind of pro-Arab militia targeting black people. So the Western media may say Black Lives Matter, but they only want to do it when it suits their own political agenda with domestic politics in the United States. If they really cared about Black lives, they would be covering the tragedy of what's happening in Sudan. Also, I don't like the idea that you are either pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian. In fact, if someone is pro-Palestinian, they should not want Hamas to rule Gaza. They should want Hamas to surrender, and then war wouldn't be necessary if Hamas abdicated power, any more than if someone says they're being pro-Iranian by being pro the regime in Iran. There is a complete difference between supporting the people of Iran, including many brave women who have protested in the last year or so, and many have been shot or beaten up or imprisoned for wanting not to wear hijab. In Iran, there is a difference between being pro-Iranian and pro-Iranian regime. So there's a difference between being pro-Palestinian or sympathetic to the Palestinians and wanting to keep Hamas in power. And this is not explained and not emphasized at all in the mainstream Western media.